Have you ever wondered what really happened to Elvis Presley's amazing rise to fame and his tragic end? In this video, we'll uncover the untold story of the king of rock and roll, exploring the hidden influences that shaped his career and led to his untimely death. Join us on this journey as we uncover the untold story of Elvis Presley's rise to fame and tragic end. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay updated on our latest videos. Let's get right into it. Elvis Aron Presley was born on January 8, 1935 to Vernon and Gladys Presley in Tupelo, Mississippi. He later legally changed his middle name Aron to Aron in 1957 when he became a famous recording artist. His twin brother, Jessie Garon, was stillborn before Elvis, which had a negative impact on Elvis and the family, since growing up he felt a loss and connection to a brother he never met. His parents grieved a lot from the loss and were deeply affected by it for their whole lives. This made Elvis the center of his parents' attention, with his mother being so protective of him and instilled strong faith and morality. His father often worked very hard to support the family and really struggled to make ends meet. Despite the challenges, Elvis had a happy childhood and developed an interest in music, more so a fondness for gospel music from the church they used to go to. Although his musical preferences changed later on, his impact in the gospel music field was one of a kind. Despite the poor financial situation of the family, his mother Gladys was able to gather enough money to buy Elvis his first guitar as a birthday gift from a local hardware company when he turned 11 years old. Regardless of the guitar being a cheap gift, Elvis loved it and spent most of his time practicing how to play it. Gladys and Vernon supported him and encouraged him to pursue music in his career. In 1948, they even moved to Memphis, Tennessee to get better opportunities for Elvis. He got inspiration from different sources like gospel, blues, and country music, which he used to sharpen his skills as a musician and performer, and performed in talent shows and local gigs. In 1954, Elvis recorded his first single, "That's All Right," which quickly became a hit and was played on local radio stations, earning him recognition while signing the Sun Studio Records. The song was a cover of a blues track by Arthur Crudup and was recorded with Elvis on vocals and rhythm guitar, Scotty Moore on lead guitar, and Bill Black on bass. Over the next few years, Elvis recorded more singles at Sun Studio, which included Blue Moon of Kentucky, Baby Let's Play House, Good Rocking Tonight, and Mystery Train, and showed his one-of-a-kind blend of blues, country, and gospel music that would later be called rock and roll. He went on to appear on a series of television shows and later on signed a recording contract with RCA Records following his success at Sun Studio Records. His performances were marked by his high energy on stage and his hip-shaking dance moves, which sparked debate and made him a target to scrutiny. While signed to RCA Records, he would go on to record some of his most famous songs and even become an international superstar. However, his recordings at Sun Studio are still taken as some of his best work, which helped in making him one of the greatest musical innovators of all time. Elvis Presley purchased his first property at the young age of 22 in 1957. He bought a property in Memphis, Graceland Mansion, which was built in 1939 and was equipped with a swimming pool, tennis court. The property was stated to be worth $102,500, a big amount of money at the time, and he intended the home to house himself, his parents, and his grandmother. He went ahead to extensively renovate and decorate the mansion to fit his personal taste by installing a music room, a TV room with 3 televisions, and a billiards room. Elvis lived in Graceland for the rest of his life, and the property was a symbol of the success he had achieved and his cultural icon status. Today, Graceland is a museum and a popular tourist attraction where people from all over the world go to see his collection of cars and airplanes from his life career. Presley's rise to fame was not only because of his career in the music industry, but also because he contributed to the film and television industries. He was a sought-after guest on national television programs, which helped him gain even more recognition and popularity. Some of the famous programs he appeared on are Stage Show, The Ed Sullivan Show, which is one of the most watched television programs in U.S., The Milton Berle Show, and The Steve Allen's Variety Show, and contributed in helping them reach a wider audience and solidify his position as a cultural icon. In his first appearance on The Stage Show in 1956, he performed Shake, Rattle and Roll and Flip, Flop and Fly, while his first feature on The Ed Sullivan Show, he performed Hound Dog, which caused controversy from his provocative dance moves, which were considered indecent. Despite this, Elvis went on to appear on the show more and even became a regular guest. He again performed Hound Dog and Blue Suede Shoes on The Milton Show in April the same year. His performance on the show was so influential in that it is often credited as the introduction of rock and roll to a bigger audience. Hound Dog was such a big deal since he performed it again in July on the Steve Allen's Variety Show as a comedy skit. In general, Elvis' appearance on television programs contributed in making his status as a cultural icon and one of the greatest entertainers of all time. In March 1958, Elvis Presley was drafted into the U.S. Army at the height of his career. Him getting into the military was publicized and even made headlines throughout the country, and a lot of his fans weren't happy that he would be away from the music industry for almost 2 years, but for Elvis, it was his patriotic duty to serve his country. After he successfully finished his training, he was assigned to the 3rd Armored Division in Friedberg, Germany, where he served as an ordinary soldier. He was treated like the other soldiers without special treatment despite being a celebrity back home. He rose in ranks to a sergeant and was responsible for driving tanks and the other military vehicles. Whenever possible, Elvis continued to perform music and even participated in military talent shows for his fellow soldiers. He recorded music while in Germany, including his hit single Surrender. In his time in the military, Elvis gained a sense of discipline and responsibility. He was exposed to different cultures and experiences, which he used to write his music later on. In general, his service in the military was significant in his life, and it helped shape the man he became. After he came back from the Army in 1960, he went on with his music career and also focused on making movies, and on May 1, 1967, he married Priscilla Beaulieu in Las Vegas in a lavish wedding which was attended by many celebrities. They later on had one child, Lisa Marie Presley, who was born in 1968. In December of the same year, his comeback special, Elvis, was aired on NBC and marked his return to live performing after missing in action for almost 8 years, in which he was busy making movies and recording soundtracks. The show was a big success, which contributed a lot in cementing his status and reminding audiences of his musical talent. Due to the success of the comeback special, Elvis went on to do special events like a tour across the U.S. The events became known widely for their energy and Elvis electric performances. One of the most famous events Elvis featured on was the Aloha from Hawaii concert in 1973, which was played on television via satellite to more than 40 countries and made it the most watched television event ever. These events, in short, marked a period in the career of Elvis and demonstrated his perfect art as a performer and his popularity. The fall from fame of the great Elvis Presley began in the late 1960s, when he began isolating himself from people and kept to himself. He spent most of his time in his Graceland mansion in Memphis and fell into a world of unhealthy eating habits and drugs. His physical deterioration and bad behavior became more visible to the public, like in concerts and television performances. People had a lot to say about the weight he had gained and was attributed to all the junk food, sugary drinks, and prescription drugs he was taking. He even got divorced from his wife, Priscilla, in 1973. Despite the struggles he faced in his personal life, Presley still went on tours and recorded music throughout the 1970s, but his performances weren't as good due to his bad health condition, and his voice wasn't as good as before. He also suffered from anxiety, insomnia for not sleeping enough, and mood swings, which were a result of drug abuse. Since his personal physician, Nicopolis, was aware of Presley's addiction to prescription drugs, it costed him his medical license because he's the one who overprescribed the drugs to Elvis and other patients. As time went by, Elvis began to withdraw from his professional commitments by canceling shows and recording sessions, and even financial and legal problems began. On August 16, 1977, Elvis Presley was found dead in his Graceland home. The reason of death was said to be a heart attack, which most likely happened because he was addicted to prescription drugs, but this is still up for debate. He died at the age of 42, and his death was a wake-up call to both the entertainment business and the general public about the dangers of abusing prescription drugs. His death ended an era and took away one of the best artists who ever lived. Thank you for coming with us on this trip through the hidden story of how Elvis Presley became famous and how he lost it. We hope you enjoyed hearing more about his life and work, and we hope you'll come back to hear more interesting stories.